That stunning headline in the Russia investigation. Special Counsel Robert Mueller has warned President Trump's legal team that if Trump refuses to an interview, Mueller could subpoena him to testify before a grand jury. It is a dramatic threat that could lead to a showdown in the Supreme Court. Our Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas starts us off. Good morning, Pierre.
George, good morning. The negotiations between the special counsel and President Trump's legal team about whether the president will sit down for an interview have become more tense recently. And if they completely fall apart, the specter of an all-out court battle now looms as a real possibility.
ABC News has learned that Special Counsel Robert Mueller is considering subpoenaing President Trump if he does not agree to a request for an interview. Sources confirming that Mueller told the president's legal team earlier this year that if they reach an impasse, he might seek a subpoena to compel the president to testify before a grand jury. Negotiations between the special counsel and the president's legal team, underway for months, had stalled until the recent addition of Trump ally Rudy Giuliani to his stable of attorneys.
I can guarantee you this. When Mueller is finished, no matter whatever he does, he's not going to have a stitch of evidence that he colluded with the Russians. Now, that's a disgrace. The case should be over.
The prospect of a legal fight between the president's attorneys, the White House, and the special counsel could lead to a fierce court battle. This coming as we learn that President Trump's attorneys developed a list of questions based on conversations with Mueller's prosecutors concerning what may be asked. The questions include a number of critical topics: the firing of former FBI Director James Comey, the firing of former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. At issue, whether there was obstruction of justice and collusion between Trump associates and the Russians. President Trump still calling it all a witch hunt, and the White House for now refusing to comment on the state of negotiations.
I'm not going to get into a back and forth about questions leaked or anything having to do with the special counsel, and I would refer you to the president's attorneys.
How intense have these negotiations been? In response to that threat of a subpoena, John Dow, the president's former attorney, told Mueller's team, "You're screwing with the work of the president of the United States." George?
It is getting serious. Pierre, thanks very much. Let's bring in our chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams, for more on this right now. This is real right now. If President Trump refuses to answer questions, if Robert Mueller then does subpoena him, it goes to the courts. The courts have decided on this before.
Yeah, let's just take one step back, though, which is typically someone could go in and invoke their Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination and say, I'm not going to answer the questions, and that's fine.
We saw Michael Cohen do that in the California case.
Exactly. But because he's the president, because there are political implications, I don't think anyone expects that President Trump is going to go and show up and invoke his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. So then question two becomes, what happens then? This fight then begins. And you're right, two big cases, both with Richard Nixon. That was not with regard to testimony. That was with regard to tapes. And then you've got the Paul Jones case, ultimately Bill Clinton, and then ultimately with Ken Starr, where it didn't quite work its way up to this exact question. But all of the cases together would clearly indicate that the president does not have a winning legal argument that executive privilege would overwhelm.
And President Clinton did agree to go and answer some questions for the grand jury. President Trump's team seems to suggest they don't want to answer the questions right now. If the court rules against him, that's when it gets exceedingly serious.
Right. So let's say it works its way all the way through the courts. The Supreme Court then says, sorry, this is a valid subpoena. And the president says, well, I don't think so, and I'm not going to show up. That's when you have the real potential crisis. We use this word constitutional crisis all the time. I think that the only real crisis occurs if you have, in the end, a real war between two branches of government where one is saying, you can't tell me what to do, even though it's always been accepted that the courts are the final arbiters on a question.
And that's why you believe it's at least possible that Mueller wouldn't follow through on this.
I still don't think that Mueller's going to do it. There's a difference between could and will. I could subpoena you is different from I will subpoena you. I still don't think he's going to do it, even if Trump and the Mueller team are not able to reach common ground on the questions.
A lot left to play out here. Dan Abrams, thanks very much. Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.